The Greater Golden Horseshoe is Canada's largest urbanized area and the economic engine of Ontario. The area has a large population of 8.4 million people, making up 2/3 of the population of Ontario and almost 1/3 of Canada's total population. The Greater Golden Horseshoe has some of Canada's best farmland, and its southern location and warmer weather ensures a longer growing season. However, there is only a limited amount of farmland in the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and it is rapidly being urbanized. Many of the best soils in the area now lie beneath infrastructure, including housing, highways, and strip malls. In order to fully understand the problem at hand, we must cover the term urban sprawl. Urban sprawl can be defined as the unrestricted growth of urban areas. These areas are often low-density residential areas that are automobile-dependent. This phenomenon began at the start of the industrial age when large urban centers such as Toronto were crowded and deteriorated, and diseases such as typhoid and tuberculosis spread through the poor and dense population. Farmers were isolated at this time, only being able to sell their produce as widely as they could travel. The implementation of railroad travel began a period of change. Young women were able to travel unaccompanied to seek work as seamstresses or factory workers, and travel between towns became significantly easier. When automobiles were introduced, ordinary working Americans were able to purchase affordable cars and could travel for business and pleasure. Cities abandoned well-established public transportation systems, such as the red car trolley systems in Los Angeles, in favor of the newly developed automobile. Many cities were eager to profit from expansion as there were many perceived benefits. For instance, the expansion of cities helped middle-class families improve the quality of their lives. There was more space in these outer areas, called suburbs, allowing them to have more space and access to nature that was previously only accessible to the wealthy. The middle-class people were able to live in uncrowded conditions, but were still able to work in the city. The trend of urban sprawl has continued ever since. As we have already established, urban sprawl is leading to the rapid development and destruction of Ontario's farmlands. This is alarming because farmland in Canada is a rarity, with only about 5% of the country's entire land base being suitable for growing food. At the same time, urban development has consumed more than 7,400 square kilometers of dependable farmland in recent decades. To put this statistic in perspective, that is 3 times the size of Prince Edward Island. All of this farmland can't ever be used again because developing farmland permanently destroys its fertile soil. A recently released collaboration between Time magazine and Google illustrates how the size of Toronto has changed in the past 30 years, and how the farmland in the Greater Golden Horseshoe has been exploited. Take a look at the time-lapse that is being displayed on screen. The rapid development of Toronto can clearly be seen creeping out into the surrounding farmland. If this issue isn't taken seriously, we will lose even more valuable farmland in the coming years. The urban sprawl that is threatening farmland in southern Ontario has a variety of causes. One of the major causes of urban sprawl is a lack of comprehensive planning. For instance, officials in a densely populated urban center such as Toronto may plan a new area of development without consulting nearby communities. The result of this is often a poorly planned area on the outskirts of the city that does not connect with the existing infrastructure and amenities of surrounding communities. These new developments will experience new public expenses for infrastructure improvements without the consideration of a regional plan or pooled resources. A regional plan is essential for a well-connected community because it anticipates the growth of the new areas and accounts for it with the efficient allocation of services, resources, and infrastructure. Another major factor of urban sprawl is population growth, and Toronto is a city that has experienced significant population growth in recent years. A sharp increase in residents creates the need for new communities. As the population continues to grow, the city continues to stretch further away from its center. The last cause of urban sprawl that I will mention is consumer preference. Some people desire larger homes, more bedrooms, and bigger yards. These larger houses can be built in lower density areas where buildings are spread out. The houses are less expensive, so people who want a larger home but do not have enough money to live in the city choose to live in suburbs. In addition to the destruction of farmland, urban sprawl has many negative effects, the first being increased air pollution. Due to the distance of suburbs from cities, they are often automobile dependent, which results in a major increase in air pollution and ground level smog. This air pollution has serious implications for the health of humans, wildlife, and ecosystems. For instance, poor air quality increases respiratory ailments like asthma and bronchitis and heightens the risk of life-threatening conditions like cancer. Urban sprawl also leads to water pollution, as rainwater picks up pollutants such as gasoline, lawn chemicals, heavy metals, paint spills, motor oil, pet wastes, and construction site erosion. These pollutants make their way into bodies of water such as lakes, rivers, and streams, where they pose a threat to the environment. Degraded health is another effect of urban sprawl. Poor community design makes it more difficult for people to get physical activity and maintain a healthy lifestyle. People are less likely to walk or bike because they are forced to take a car everywhere. There is a clear correlation between urban sprawl, obesity, and chronic diseases that are associated with inactivity. Lastly, urban sprawl leads to wasted tax money in crowded schools. Instead of improving existing communities, Ontario tax money is used to support new sprawling developments and communities. These new areas need new schools, water and sewer lines, and increased fire and police protection, which forces higher taxes on residents. In addition, urban sprawl creates crowded schools in the suburbs and empty and underfunded schools in city centers. The Government of Ontario has taken actions to combat urban sprawl. For example, the government established the Greenbelt Plan in 2005 to protect green space, farmland, communities, forests, wetlands, and watersheds in the Greater Golden Horseshoe. The Greenbelt contains over 2 million acres of land that is protected by the Niagara Escarpment Plan, the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Plan, and the Greenbelt Plan. However, the Greenbelt isn't enough to protect all of the farmland, as it is estimated that 75% of prime farmland in the Greater Golden Horseshoe lies outside of the Greenbelt, and thus is vulnerable to urban sprawl. There are also many rare ecosystems, such as wetlands, that are at threat in the area as well. So what can be done? There are many policies that can be implemented that have the potential to slow the damage caused by urban sprawl in the Greater Golden Horseshoe. Firstly, the Government of Ontario can focus on preserving their natural land. Urban sprawl destroys the environmental, economic, and aesthetic value of natural lands, which include farmland, parks, open spaces, and unused land. The Government of Ontario has already taken steps in this area with the implementation of the Greenbelt as mentioned, but there is more to be done. The government needs to implement more policies that protect these natural areas from leapfrog development or the construction of strip malls, new towns, and residencies that are miles away from the city and the suburbs. Secondly, the Government of Ontario can focus on revitalizing older areas inside of the city. Instead of constantly looking to expand with low-density developments, the government can focus on reinventing older areas by cleaning up environmentally contaminated land and reinvesting in existing neighborhoods to encourage people to move back into the city. The government could also implement tax incentives and banking institutions that offer special mortgages to people who are interested in moving back into their revitalized neighborhoods. Thirdly, the Government of Ontario could promote the development of compact, higher-density communities with effective public transit as opposed to the low-density suburbs that are being developed right now. Many Canadian municipalities are beginning to investigate ways to construct these types of communities, such as Squamish and Prince George in British Columbia. These municipalities have gone through intensive planning processes that are looking to implement smart communities. The City of Toronto could benefit from this type of planning. According to the David Suzuki Foundation, there are also things that citizens can do to slow urban sprawl. The following are the tips that are suggested on the website. If you are moving, choose a home that is within a 30-minute walk, bike, or transit ride from work, school, or shopping. If you are not moving, try to get out of your car more and help reduce the many problems associated with being car dependent. Learn more about what is going on in your community. Listen to the radio and read the local newspapers. Most cities in Canada are faced with a range of urban sprawl issues: road expansion, poor transit, new shopping malls and megastores, new suburban development, and stresses on existing water and sewage facilities. You can't get involved if you don't know what's going on. Take your concerns to the next level. Contact your city planning department and convey your concerns and ideas. Talk to your mayor or city councilor about strengthening the best qualities of your city and redirecting plans to build out. Overall, urban sprawl is a problem that is greatly affecting the greater Golden Horseshoe. Urban sprawl has economic, environmental, and health-related issues, but has solutions that can be implemented by the government and everyday people. I hope that this video was educational and entertaining, and that I have convinced you that a change is necessary. Thank you for watching. See you all later.